A local transgender woman suing the Hooters franchise on Wolf Road for discrimination.
The restaurant has been a regular stop for Brandy Livingston, so much so she hoped to someday work there. However, after her recent transition, Brandy claims that she's not respected there as a woman.
They would use male pronouns. They would refer to me as he.
Of course they would. Why is anyone surprised?
She claims it goes even further, telling me employees and management at the restaurant continually harass her.
I overheard one of the servers after I left the restroom talking to one of the managers and said, "Why are you allowing him in the women's restroom?" And the manager said, "Oh, I don't like it any more than you do."
I think it's harassment for a man to go into the women's restroom, feeling entitled to be in women's spaces. Did this man even ask for permission? Did he ask how the women felt about him being in their spaces? I'm assuming no.
Brandy filed a claim with the New York State Division of Human Rights, and after investigating, they found sufficient evidence her rights may have been violated under New York Executive Law 296, and there will be a hearing.
You got to prove that it was discrimination on the basis of some prohibited characteristics, such as gender identity.
She says she applied 3 times for employment.
I said, "Do you want to see my experience or anything?" He said, "Well, we don't care about experience. We hire on the basis of personality, and there's an image that needs to be met."
What even is gender identity? What does it mean? Someone's gender identity is something that you cannot prove. It's just something a person claims to be. I think it's so stupid that gender identity, whatever that means, is protected under discrimination laws. Someone can identify as something that they're not. And also, gender identity is fluid. You can change your gender identity every single day if you want to. So that's why I don't believe it makes sense for gender identity to be protected under discrimination laws. To me, it makes sense that you legally cannot discriminate people based on their skin color, race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, and so on. You can't choose your race, you can't choose your sexual orientation, but you can choose to identify as a woman. Gender identity? I think it's an ideological term, and I don't think the law should acknowledge ideological terms. Whenever you hear a case about someone being discriminated against based on gender identity, 99.9% of the time, it's about a trans activist who's being confronted by biology. And by common sense, this individual claimed he was being harassed based on gender identity because he's using the women's restroom when he's a biological male and he looks like one. In this case, harassment means being confronted by reality. This man was not harassed in any way. You could argue he was harassing others. Actual transsexuals do not experience this, first of all, but even if they did, they wouldn't call it harassment. They wouldn't cry to the media and sue people for harassment or discrimination. To point out the obvious, this man did not get the job at Hooters due to discrimination. I've seen multiple trans women on TikTok talking about their experience working at Hooters. So it's not impossible for trans women to work at Hooters. But as you can imagine, these trans women look like this. They actually look good. Looking like this won't get you a job at Hooters. And remember, even if this person didn't look like a man, there are regular women who won't get the job because they don't look a specific way, they're not attractive enough, or whatever their criteria are. That's life, and I don't see what the issue is. Applying for the same job 3 times is really weird. I know what it's like to be rejected after a job interview, and it sucks. It sucks real bad. But to apply again and again and again after being rejected all those times is crazy. Like, what's going on? No means no, darling.
Hooters has fired back, saying through their lawyers that Brandy was requested to not return to the restaurant because of what they say were her own offensive actions, and allege that Brandy on several occasions made sexually explicit comments to servers.
Unfortunately, I'm not surprised. How sad is that? Nothing can shock me anymore whenever I hear stories about trans activists causing so much trouble out there. Clearly, this person doesn't care about consent. He walks into the women's restroom no matter what people, especially women, feel about it. He demands to get a job after getting rejected 3 times and made sexually explicit comments. This is a person who enjoys crossing other people's boundaries, loves to get attention, but not in a good way. And that behavior has nothing to do with being trans. Actual trans people don't want any negative attention. They don't want anyone to notice that they're different, don't want to be inappropriate, be extremely sexual in public. Basically, everything trans activists do today is the opposite of what it means to be trans, or to be gender dysphoric. Gender dysphoric individuals want to live a peaceful life without drawing any attention to themselves. We know that we're not the opposite sex, and we will never become it. And if being in the opposite sex spaces, if it's appropriate, right, we understand and we respect that we are guests in those spaces. It is so frustrating that I have to react to these types of stories. I hate that these stories are real.
They just claimed that you had, prior to transitioning and after, you had frequently made multiple servers at the restaurant uncomfortable by informing them you wanted to marry them, discussing masturbation.
I never said any of that.
Wow, that's so disgusting. I'm a little bit confused about the timeline here. Like, did he transition in between the 3 times he applied for the same job? Maybe I'm getting it wrong, but no matter what a disgusting man. Man, why would an actual trans woman, someone with gender dysphoria, make women uncomfortable like that? How does that alleviate the dysphoria? Spoiler alert, it doesn't. It would make it a lot worse, because women usually don't behave in that way.
That you had threatened to go to a gun range for practice for the next time you came to the restaurant.
My mom would take me to the gun range for clay pigeon shooting trap. One of the servers might have overheard what me and my dad were talking about and misunderstood what we were talking about.
Right, that is what happened. You did not threaten anyone or make any sexual remarks. Why would you? You're just an innocent, stunning and brave trans woman who just want to work and make money so you can survive. I know you can't exactly prove that he said those things, but he was sure acting like a stalker. He sure didn't understand that no means no. So his actions and those remarks were definitely creepy and stalker-ish.
Ultimately, Brandy says she does not want money.
What I really want is an apology.
Lawyers for Hooters have not responded to repeated requests for comment. Brandy and Hooters head to a human rights hearing in September of 2025.
Oh, he has to wait a whole year. It says a lot about how serious this case is. I believe that he's not only lying about making those remarks, he's also lying about not wanting to get money. Getting money is not his intention. I think that's bullshit. My theory is this person knows that he will be rejected when applying for a job at Hooters, and he kept applying for the same job in hopes that they will tell him straight up, it's because you look like this. You look like a man or something. Whether we like it or not, the law protects self-identified trans people like him. So he knew that he would win if suing them. Now that I think about it, it's quite smart. I of course think his behavior in general is horrible and disgusting. Putting that aside, the lawsuit alone is kind of brilliant. And if it wasn't for his disgusting behavior, you would think he's a troll, trying to show the country that the laws are stupid or can be stupid. And speaking of that, there's a Danish artist, a man, who legally changed his sex to female, even though he's not trans or anything, he's just a regular man. And he did it to prove how easy it is to change your sex, to be acknowledged as the opposite sex in Denmark. He did something illegal with a painting, so he's actually going to prison. And now the question is, should he go to the women's prison or the men's prison? We all know he's faking it, and trans activists are so mad here, saying, oh, he's ruining everything, he's making a mockery of transgenderism. How ironic. Because, as far as I'm concerned, that is what your guys are doing. And he's not ruining transgenderism if he's following the rules. You know, transgenderism is the ideological term. Transsexualism describes the real definition of trans. It describes the people who actually deal with gender dysphoria, who actually medically transition, and all of that. Trans activists don't really have anything to complain about. They can't complain about someone following their own rules. They I don't know, 7 years ago, made up out of nowhere. Anyways, I'm excited to see what's gonna happen with this lawsuit. As it is right now, I have no idea who will win. Before you go, I just want to thank you for watching this video. If you want to see more content like this, remember to hit subscribe and the notification bell. Follow me on social media, and I cannot wait to see you all in the comments down below. Peace out.